Welcome, whole woman listeners. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Rachel.
And I'm Kim.
And today we are going to discuss breakthroughs. I have been having a very interesting year when it comes to my relationships, not just my family and my honey, but my friends. And this has been something that I have kind of struggled with on and off, like my whole adult life. And I realized that I just get so upset and hurt, and when people don't behave the way I do, or don't take other people into consideration the way I do. And what I've been learning this year is like, not everybody has my same heart, right? Not everybody thinks the same I do, wants to do things the same I do. And instead of getting upset over and over again and wasting my energy, it's, I love Mel Robbins' like let them theory. I've been listening to her a lot, and it's just like, you know what? I don't have to take this person's energy or get offended or have my feelings hurt when someone doesn't do what I would do. And but it's changing the dynamic of the people are in my life. And that is also, I'm not going to use the word struggle because it's not a struggle. It's just a relearning of behavior, right? I mean, you have to have had this experience at some point in your life.
hmm Yeah, and it's interesting because I've been having the same thoughts, and you and I didn't talk about it until recently. But the thing that I'm noticing is in this stage of my life when my world's opened up a little bit, right? So once upon a time, I worked a job, and another part of my life, I was the mom to kids in sports or whatever, and then the gym and all those things. And I had groups of friends in each of those. And now my world is very different. And I've been exposed to a lot of people that don't live in Ames, Iowa, and who I don't interact with on a regular basis. And I was thinking about this when I was writing this morning, because I'm kind of gearing up for my birthday blessings list, right? And in the last year, I have met so many people, or I've developed deeper relationships with people that I've never hugged or that I've never like sat across a table and had coffee with. And it's really made me question some of my in-person relationships because I receive more soul-filling feedback from you from 1,500 miles away over a Zoom camera than I do from some people that I spend a good deal of time with.
Mhm.
And so I'm having the same sort of um things. I mean, like realizations are manifesting in my life that and I don't know what to do with them because I like some people you can't break up with, right? I mean, like some friendships you gotta hang on to because you know what I'm talking about. But my kids are great. My husband's great. Several of my friends are great. But then there are some that are just like, I don't know, am I there when they want me there? Am I there when they need something? Am I a personal assistant, if you will? And if somebody wants to be my friend and contacts me and wants to ask me a question or wants my help or whatever, a lot of times it's like they don't value it. I'm good when I need it and I'm not when I'm not, you know?
I do know.
Yeah.
I think it's such an interesting, like you're saying, at our age, women in our 50s, like our tolerance level for drama and all that stupid stuff we were into in our 20s is just non-negotiable now. And yes, I do agree with a lot of people that your friendship circle gets smaller and smaller as we get older. And I'm fine with that too. It's not my issue. And my bestie lives in Portland, Oregon. Both of my besties do. And one of them, we talk on the phone at least twice a week. And we just, that's how we keep our friendship going. My other bestie, she's just super busy. And we send each other like reels on Instagram every week. But the time that goes by between us actually talking or seeing each other is much greater, but we both know that we love each other. We both know that it's not a one-sided friendship, because when we are together, it's beautiful and lovely and fun. And I think that there's different friendships for everybody, and that's so great and okay. I just think both parties need to understand that and accept the rules, right? So if one is feeling taken advantage of, or one is feeling like you never call and you don't do these things without any kind of like understanding or explanation, that's not fair either. And I think we're at this age where having a conversation is okay. You know, it's okay to set your boundaries, talk to people about what you need from that relationship. And if you can't do that, or if you're not getting that from someone in your life, then I'm learning how to, without guilt, without shame, is to separate myself from those people, because there has to be an equilibrium with relationships, no matter what they are, who they are, and how they work. But if both parties aren't in agreement, I just don't think that's equal and or fair.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. My two closest girlfriends, we see each other frequently. We go to church together, whatever, but a lot of times church is just simply, hey, how you doing? Sit together, hug. What's the week look like? I mean, it's simply being together. It's not a deep, how are you doing sort of conversation. But we know that when we do take time to be together, no matter whether it's been a week or it's been 3 months since we really connected, that we're always there for each other. You know what I mean? And if
Yeah.
someone is in need, the other is there. But we have this understanding that we're in different stages of life. I'm retired and having fun with the podcast and writing books, and one is still working and one is raising kids. We're all different places. So we just know to ask if we need one another
Yeah.
and know that we're always there. Now, there are other friendships that are so superficial,
Hmm.
and and we need those too. I mean, like you want to see the familiar face and have somebody you can chit chat with when you bump into them or whatever. That's fine. You don't need the whole world to be your counselor. But but where I'm really struggling is when someone thinks I should be their counselor, but yet
Hmm.
there's no concern for, like, I need you now sort of thing, and what's going on in my life. And I would surely drop what I'm doing for many people,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's not what you do for me, I'll do for you. I don't want it to come
Right.
across like that, but I want to know that I'm cared for as much as I'm caring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that what I'm evolving into is, we talk about this all the time. Like, we just have to be nice. We just have to be nice. And no, you don't. I don't feel like I have to go out into the world to prove my point, and like, I don't need you, fuck you, like any of that. I don't have to cause any uproar, but I can distance myself, and I can not acknowledge you if I walk by you in the hallway. I don't need to do that. I'll always be kind. I'll
Mhm.
always be that kind of person, like you said, of, in case of emergency, I will always do my best to do the right thing. But in my day-to-day life, like, it's energy that I'm spending
Mhm.
trying to be nice to you when I really think what you did to me was shitty.
Mhm.
And I also believe that forgiveness, which is totally a part of who I am, is not, it's not lost on remembering how you treated me, how you didn't do what you said you were going to do. It's actually really good to remember those things, because like you said, people are in your life to either teach you something, to love you, or for you to learn.
Mhm.
And I think that I'm in a really big learning stage of my life right now. And the word, I was telling you this off camera, has been popping up for me the last couple weeks, like breakthroughs, breakthroughs. Like, all this shit that I have been harboring for most of my life does not get to come with me next year. And not that I'm don't have more lessons to learn. I know I do. I will always have lessons to learn. But this has been a big one for me because I love the idea of being one of those friends that like fixes your crown instead of trying to knock it off. I've always been that woman who wants to have lovely women friendships and do things with women and spend time with women. I just have always really wanted that in my life. And I just realized it's like, I do have that. So
Mhm.
when a new woman comes in my life, she doesn't have to be the end all be all and be my new bestie because, yes, bestie D, you will never be replaced, I promise. But I do love fostering friendships and learning about new people and doing new things. I love all that. But I think I've realized that I don't have to be that person who tries to just reel that person in and make all the plans and do all the things. It's just I don't want to give my energy in that way anymore.
Mhm. In this lovely world that we live in social media, you can scroll through Instagram or Facebook and find anything you want. But I've been trying to put off my scrolling until later in the day, and trying to make it a little bit more not personal, purposeful, or whatever the case may be, so I don't get just caught in a doom scroll. But it's there's all this stuff that just resonates so much, like you were saying with breakthrough. And it's like, as the book I'm writing right now is about evolving and change and not being afraid to love who you are and where you are when you still want to be moving someplace else, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and you and I have experienced this in our careers with people in the gym or clients, I mean, like, yes, it's great to have a goal, right? But if you don't love where you are right now, you're just never going to be happy, because you might have a goal today, but when you get there, guess what? You find out that it isn't the end all be all. And so this whole breakthrough thing, I mean, like, as you're trying to recreate yourself and as you're trying to create the best possible life for you, your
Mhm.
heart, your mind, your soul, and every part of where you live, you have to be who you want to be, and that was the thing that resonated most with me today is, you know, so much of my life I've been who someone else wanted me to be. I've been the
Mhm.
friend, you know, my husband and I, we both had expectations for one another, but we're both the kind of people that, like, eh, I'm not doing that. We have good, sometimes heated discussions about where we're willing to go and grow, right? But in friendships, like, there is just so much of an expectation
Mm.
about who a person should be, or what you need from them. But I've never had those expectations. And so sometimes when I don't have that expectation of you, I become the doer or the doormat or the worrier or the joking today, but you said you shot me a text message about, hey, we should talk about this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that wasn't about me, is it? Right? Well, yes, it was a joke, but that's instantly what goes through my head.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you. I used to be like that too. Like it's just everything was about me. And one of these podcast shows, I actually really want to do the whole show on this book called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. And I read that book for the first time about 13 years ago. And I not only have it as an audiobook so I can listen to it when I'm feeling like I'm stuck in a growth period, because it's just so powerful, but the concept is just so simple. And I'd rather like talk about it on a show, so I'll
Right.
save it. But for anyone who wants to just understand that we are our own worst enemies with that inner chatter, it's a great, great book. The
Mhm.
Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. It was a game changer for me. And it really showed me how we take things way too personally and how nothing is really other people's behavior has nothing to do with us.
Mhm.
Nothing.
Mhm.
So yeah, It's definitely a really fascinating message that if I could give the world a book, it would be that book.
I love that. And it's on my list now. So, in moving forward, because we both know I'm going to tie it back to food and exercise again, right? Because that's what I do. And we'll talk about resolutions too in a couple of weeks because that's a big thing that happens. But you and I know that when a person makes a decision to just draw that line in the sand and never cross it again, a lot of times they fail because they don't think it all the way through. So if you've been dwelling on breakthrough and really thinking about the things that aren't moving forward with you into 2026, what does that look like? Like, how are you preparing? And more than just preparing yourself, how do you think a person can prepare maybe those relationships that will change in the coming year?
That's a great question. And I think how I'm moving forward with it is to stop being in fear for my initial reaction, which is to separate myself instead of talking myself out of it. And, oh, you have to be nice. You have to keep the peace. You have to blah, 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 blah. All the things we've learned as women. I know, no, I'm not doing that because the more I've gone through this year, and I mean, it's been intense. It's been with a lot of different women that have just been like, this lesson keeps smacking me across the face. And with every situation, I feel more peaceful, right? I feel more at peace, more at peace, more. And I'm like, oh, so this is the benefit to not getting yourself wrapped up in drama, talking about it incessantly, thinking it over, picking it apart in your brain. Like, oh, being able just to go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and do the things I have to do to focus on Rachel's business and the things I want to do. Like, oh, so this is what it's like to have extra time on my hands. And that was another lesson because again, this book is really so valuable. I don't know, and we've talked about this before, but most of us women have that the minute our eyes open, that chatter goes on. I have to do this, I have to do that. And I think I shared on a panel with Melissa, and you were there a couple months ago, how I've started to recognize how in my brain, like I will check off my to-do list like 3 times in a row. And I don't consider myself, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I don't consider myself OCD. I just don't. There's not things I have to do 10 times, but that's not the point. The point is that I did have this issue with like just talking all the time in my head and where I really just want quiet. I just want peace. I just want to hear the birds chirping in the morning. And, the morning is me and my honey's breakfast time and where we have our lovely deep conversations. And instead of being present for that, I don't really give a shit what I have to do in 2 hours. Like I want to be here with him. I want to hear the birds in the morning. So it's a conscious effort to be like, shh. So that's what I've really been kind of working on. It's just like, you already told yourself that. And sometimes I'm talking to myself out loud. And if people see me, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to calm myself down or like put my focus somewhere else. So yeah, that's what's happening.
Yeah. I've really started working on my gratitude list at night, kind of wrapping up the day. Three things that have happened throughout the day that are that have changed me in some way or impacted me in some way. But then I was waking up with that to do, and I had kind of fallen off morning pages, which is critical to who I am creatively. I mean, I have to clear the clutter first thing in the morning. And so before my quiet time, before my coffee time, before my connection time with my husband, I write. And then it's like I can be quiet. And so I have the Christmas tree set on a timer. So I wake up, and I walk out and I don't turn any lights on and I just sit for like a minute or two in that quiet. And then I turn on the light and I get it all out of my head and then I can be me. But I've started protecting that window that
Yeah.
I've now discovered, that window of quiet time, prayer time, coffee time, husband time. I mean, like it's sacred. And so if you want to meet with me during that time, I'm probably busy.
Yeah. I love that. That is
Mhm.
just such a sign of strength, like the strength that we have to ourselves to continue to evolve, to continue to love ourselves. And those daily practices are showing me that that's so true. And it just makes me happy to know that I have that time in the morning when my eyes open. The first thing I say is thank you.
Mhm.
And you know how much I love my crystals. And I have these beautiful jars by my bedside. And I've cultivated this crystals. I've done a lot of research, like which ones are so good for like decompression and sleep and love, creating love in your bedroom. And so I have like them right by my bedside, and I wake up every morning, I smile because I like having symbols, that show me that I am first, that I am worthy, that I can do something for myself. And for me, that's the crystal balls. And I love it.
Mhm. Yep, I love that. Rituals, touch things. Sometimes, sometimes it's just simply my grandpa carried a coin in his pocket. When I'm in Florida every day, I can get distracted. And that's like my quiet focus time when I'm walking on the beach. And so what I've learned works for me, like your crystals, they represent something to you. I always seem to find this perfect polished fragment of a shell, and
Yeah.
it always fits just perfectly for my thumb to touch. And again, it's that
Oh, yeah, you
that
told me that before.
yeah, it's just that intentional focus, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
I love that. It's,
yeah.
there's nothing wrong with meditating. I've tried it. We've talked about this before. I've tried it, and it's just doing that type of meditation doesn't necessarily work for me. I do love grounding, though. I think grounding feels real and feels good. I'm not super consistent with it, but I do love that I wake up every morning and say thank you because it does set an intention for the day. You can wake up and be as cantankerous and cranky as you want, but to wake up and say good morning to whoever's there with you
Mm-hmm.
and with a smile, it
Yeah.
just sets that trajectory for the whole day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So boundary seems to be the tag word of life, right? I mean, like of our life right now. Everybody's talking about boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. And I love that for you, breakthrough is the word that's resonating because it really kind of puts you personally in the same space, but it has so much more of a positive connotation, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I don't, we've talked about this before. I know I don't like the word boundaries because I feel like I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be enclosed. I don't want to be protected. I'm a hugger. I'm a close tucker. I want to be in your space kind of person.
Mhm.
But I, and Rachel's like,
No,
but no,
I
I'm kidding. But breakthrough feels so empowering to me because
yeah.
it's not saying stay out, but it's saying enter understanding who I am. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think breakthroughs is a very powerful word because you're right. Boundaries does give like a stop right there, don't come near me feel to it and vibe to it. But breakthroughs, and we also talk about the word being responsible for yourself a lot. Breakthroughs for me reminds me that I'm responsible for my actions, for my thoughts, for everything that I put out into the world. It's my responsibility to let you bug me or not.
Mhm.
And I'll just share this really quick story. I know we're going to wrap up, but I have worked in gyms for the past 30 years of my life. There is nothing, and for me, it's my therapy. I go down to work out, I go to kind of get my thoughts in order, have brainstorms, have inspiration. So when somebody comes down to the gym and starts clanging away, my last nerve gets triggered like that. I'm like, shut up. But that I'm letting this person bother me, right? I am. It's not, they don't know me. They don't know that I'm the only person in the whole world that goes to the gym without earphones. And I used to let it ruin my workout and get so pissed. And I'm using that as a tool, as a reminder that I have this choice, that I can get pissed, I can get triggered, I can let it ruin my workout, or I could go be an adult and be like, excuse me, I would love it if you could stop slamming the weight and do it in a kind way. Or I could just not let it bother me. I mean, there's so many choices in that scenario, but that for me is a great visual for the word breakthrough. Like it's my choice how I deal with that behavior. And I think it's our choice how we deal with anyone's behavior.
Mhm, mhm. I agree 100%. And that is a good illustration. I've just reached this place where if something is irritating me, I have the power to do something different. I can't let so many things that people do innocently might impact my focus or my train of thought or my day. And very few people do it with the intention to mess me up. I know that. But we have this opportunity to choose how to respond. Sometimes I respond with earplugs, not music, not podcast, not anything, but earplugs. Sometimes I respond with counting to 10 and thinking, okay, so you've set the stage for this behavior. If you want it to change, you have to be the catalyst for that because you've taught people how to treat me. I mean, treat yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like breakthrough. I thought my word of the year was going to be follow through, and now you've planted this new little seed for me to think about. And I hope we talk about words of the year. I think it'd be a good conversation too, because there's a lot that goes into focus of a year, not resolutions, a focus, a way to better yourself and to not better yourself, but make your life better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, that's what our goal is, right? We want to be happy. We want to have a beautiful life. And I think the interesting thing is, and I don't know if it happens for people at different ages, again, 40 for me, that I realize I have to create my happiness. I have to set forth this journey for me that I deal with my past.
Mhm.
I learn how to deal with people. I learn how to deal with stress. I learn how to deal with things that come on up in my life. And I think that's such a interesting misnomer is that someone says, I'm happy every day. Maybe not all day every day, but I am happy every day. And I totally stole that line from Sex and the City. Don't tell anybody. But seriously, when that character said that, I was like, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah, my life is not perfect, but I too am happy every day.
Hmm.
Or I'd like to say the majority of it. Um, some days all of it, some days less, but it's a great goal. It's a great goal. And more than a goal, it's an outlook. It's how you choose to move through life. So, looking forward to next year and more breakthroughs.
Yay, breakthroughs.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
All
as
right,
always,
friend.
Jimmy, like we always have the best combos. I'm so excited to go into the new year with you
Mhm.
and see what magic we can create with our show. We are going to start having a guest once in a while, listeners. So look forward to that starting in January. And we will see you next time.
Bye.